Hello my friend, and welcome back to the Changeling's Call. Today we are reading chapter 12. This is a shorter one, only about 8 pages. And today we're in my daughter's room. I thought they would be a little bit quieter AC in here, so let me know if this is better for the sound. So, chapter 12, the trial begins. The next day, Orla awoke feeling restless. As pleasant as her time had been at this house, she wanted to leave and start her quest. She longed for her own wings and to get her own magic. Moving soundlessly, she left Shayla asleep and dressed in a similar outfit as yesterday, trusting that Shayla wouldn't mind her borrowing more clothes, then went downstairs. In the kitchen, Danny and Finn were making tea. "Good morning, boys. I've decided today is the day. I want to start my trial to earn my wings. I know I asked you both to get me to the fairy realm, and you've done that. I don't expect you to come with me this time, but I'd be glad to have you with me." Finn laughed. "Don't be daft, lass. You'd be lost without us. I know for my part I'm in. Don't you think you ought to bring Shayla as well?" Orla hadn't thought about that. Why? She doesn't have any powers." "Because," reasoned Finn, "I like her. She's good for morale, and you never know how someone may come in handy when you meet with trouble. I think there's more to that girl than meets the eye." Finn fetched a map and then spent some time deliberating the merits of different routes. They would have to travel through the fairy realm to get to a doorway, then make their way into the human realm. While elders watched them through crystal balls, they would have to accomplish a good deed and also a small bit of mischief to a deserving human. This was the hardest part of the planning, because none of them could really think of a good idea for what to do as a good deed. "Who do we know that's in trouble?" Orla asked. "It may be best to travel from village to village and just keep an eye out for trouble," reasoned Danny, "and then make up a plan once we find it." "But how will we help? We don't even have magic," complained Orla. "Speak for yourself," said Finn, more amused than offended. "I don't think we need magic to help people," said Danny, "but Orla, I think you have some magic too. Remember the raiders?" "Yes," Orla admitted, "but I didn't really mean for that to happen. I don't think that's a power that I can control properly yet. I was just so scared that you'd be hurt." Danny nodded. "And if you feel that way again about some humans, maybe it will work for you again." Orla shrugged. "It's possible, I suppose, but we better not rely on it. Also, I wish we had a better idea of what the scale of this has to be. For example, if we help a farmer till his field, does that do it? Or do we have to save a whole village from a wildfire?" "I don't think you will get more guidance on that, lass," said Finn, "because it would be hard to be too precise about such a thing. But we know they will be watching, and I would assume they will find a way to notify you once you have succeeded in your task. So the best thing is just to keep looking for good deeds to do." Put that way, Orla thought it sounded rather daunting, but she felt confident that they would be able to do it. Shayla came downstairs in a pretty white dress covered in red flowers and held with a white cloth girdle. "Good morning, Shayla. How would you like to join our quest?" Shayla froze so completely it was comical. "I would like nothing more." "Like nothing more than what?" Saoirse entered the kitchen behind Shayla. "Mother, I want to go with them for Orla's trial to earn her wings." Saoirse looked alarmed. "Sweetheart, you've never been in the human realm. This could be dangerous. Why don't you just stay with me and we can work on a celebration for when they return?" Shayla rolled her eyes dramatically. "I'll be fine, Mother. We've got Finn and Danny coming along and Orla has her singing. If you don't let me go, I'll sneak out and go anyway." Saoirse looked completely distraught. "I hope you have a daughter just like yourself." Eyes welling with tears, she left the room. "That went over better than I expected, actually," said Shayla cheerfully. "I thought she'd really try to stop me. I guess I'll give her a while before I tell her that I might want to live in the human realm permanently." Guilt churned Orla's stomach. She probably could accomplish her trial without Shayla, and Shayla was definitely the most vulnerable one of the group. She really should be convincing her to stay. But a more selfish part of her was so happy to have someone like a sister, and she didn't want to leave her behind. Also, Finn was right about her personality. She had such a confident and merry manner, you felt like anything was possible when you were with her. Eamon joined them and urged Orla to delay leaving for another day so they would have more time to prepare and could get an early start. But Orla was anxious to get started, and she didn't really think there was much point in spending too much time planning. So Eamon went back to his study and found some useful maps while they packed water and food for the journey. Saoirse quickly mastered her emotions and helped them with food preparation. Orla and Shayla went through her wardrobe and found the most rugged, sturdy items she owned, which included some leather boots, leather girdles with loops for holding things, and some thick but pliant leggings. All her shirts were rather gauzy or pretty, but there was no helping that. Eamon graciously lent each of them a sword except Finn, for whom he found a perfectly suitable dagger. Within an hour they were ready to depart. Saoirse embraced each of them in turn and cast a spell of protection over the group. I wish you the best of luck in a swift journey. Please be careful. They were just about to slide down the roof from the platform to the ground when Aiden showed up. Slide down the rope from the platform to the ground. What's all this? I was going to ask you to go sailing with me, he said to Orla. Sorry, maybe another time. We're off to complete my trials. We're on our way to the nearest gateway. Aiden's eyes widened, but he looked excited. Then let me accompany you. I'm good at disguising myself. See? Suddenly they couldn't see his wings, and his ears looked just like those of a human. Orla couldn't help thinking to herself that he looked just as handsome as a human, though she preferred the pointed ears. I can't ask that, it's too much, argued Orla. Are you joking? It would be my pleasure. Much better than twiddling my thumbs until you come back. Orla looked at Danny and Finn. They seemed neutral about it, and she knew Shayla would be glad to have her friend with them. All right then, on your own head be it. Inwardly, though, she was pleased to have the fairy with them. He seemed to have a good grasp on the use of magic from what she had seen so far. For a while they debated the merits of going on foot as opposed to taking the time to round up some Pegasuses. Orla pointed out that once they made it to the gateway, they wouldn't be able to bring the flying horses into the human realm without creating a scene. Well, what about normal horses? Asked Danny. Finn laughed. That would be a whole separate quest, lad. There's not many of them around here. Let's just walk for now. It's not that far, reasoned Orla. And maybe we'll find some horses once we make it to the human realm. Everyone seemed happy with that, and they began the hike to a different gateway than the one Orla, Finn, and Danny had entered by, as they were many miles south of that now. As they walked, Orla taught them a song from the human realm. The gypsy rover came over the hill, down through the valleys so shady. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, da-day. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-dee. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. He came at last to a mansion fine, down by the river Clady, and there was music and there was wine for the gypsy and his lady. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, da-day. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-dee. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. He is no gypsy, my father, she said, but lord of the free lands all over, and I will stay till my dying day with my whistling gypsy rover. They all loved the song, and it got rather stuck in their heads, so Aiden sang a Fae song to clear it out of their minds. I rose at dawn on a warm spring day. I could hear the singing dove. I could see fields of wild roses, but where were you, my love? I was gone to find a spider, and by her finest silk thread I would go to sew a gown. For you, my love, I'd wed. Spirits were fairly high, though they set a quick pace, and the humans were rather tired by the afternoon. They took a short break to drink their water and eat some cheese sandwiches Saoirse had made. Now, Shayla, you'll be coming back from this expedition, won't you? Aiden asked with the air of someone trying and failing to be cavalier. Shayla shrugged. That depends on what we find. I'd like to meet my mother before we go back. I'm sure she's missing Orla very much. Orla felt a stab of guilt. She honestly hadn't thought of her mother much since she'd run away. She thought of her in that house with that awful man and his even more awful son. She'd married again for Orla, and then she'd left without a word. She was probably beside herself with grief and worry. It was late in the afternoon with long shadows everywhere when they made it to an enormous tree that marked the spot where there was a perforation in the veil. After some discussion, they decided to make camp before crossing the barrier to avoid traveling in the dark in the human realm. The men campaigned more strongly for this, and Orla had a feeling that it was less about safety and more because they were hungry for some supper. Hayden and Shayla went to gather firewood while Orla and Finn cleared the rocks from the chosen sleeping area, and Danny used the rocks to make a fire ring. By the time twilight settled on them, they had a merry fire going, and Finn had an intoxicatingly delicious-smelling rabbit stew bubbling from a rabbit Danny had caught earlier. Shayla broke off a chunk of bread for everyone as Finn passed around portions of the stew. Washed down with cool spring water, it was one of the finest meals Orla had eaten, however simple. When the conversation died down, Orla struggled to fall asleep. What if she was bringing these kind people into danger for her own selfish needs? She certainly could have gone alone. The worst-case scenarios played out in her mind until she couldn't pretend to rest anymore. She stood up and quietly retreated from her sleeping friends, heading for a nearby pile of boulders. Just as she reached out to start climbing the nearest boulder, she sensed someone behind her and nearly jumped out of her skin. Relax, it's just me, said Aiden quietly. Orla spun around and was relieved to see him there. Why aren't you sleeping? She asked, a little annoyed that he startled her. Aiden smiled. I might ask you the same thing. Orla shrugged. Just nervous, I guess. Guilty for putting people at risk. We all volunteered to be here, he argued, and I will do everything in my power to make sure we all come back unscathed. Orla turned back to the boulders and started climbing. Well, that's all very fine, but I'm still going to be anxious about it until we've successfully completed the trial and returned safely. Aiden unfolded his wings and rose into the air to keep up with her. Orla smirked at him. Can't you climb without your wings? Aiden put on an exaggerated look of indignation. Of course. He dropped to the ground and began climbing. Race you. Orla climbed faster, but they reached the top at the same time. Okay, so you're pretty fast, admitted Orla. Have you always been able to fly, or did you have to learn? Aiden tilted his head slightly, thinking. I can't remember a time when I couldn't fly at all. It's more like your wings get stronger as you grow, and you can go further without getting tired. They sat beside one another, looking up at the stars. But getting them as an adult, won't I have to learn to fly? Do you think it will be hard? Aiden looked at her with an amused smile. I think you ran away from home, stopped a gang of raiders with your voice, and found the fairy realm, so I don't think a few bumps and scrapes while learning to fly are going to stop you. And of course I'm willing to coach you. Orla knit her brows in frustration. You're always the one teaching me things. I think it's time for me to teach you something. I can teach you how to blend in the human realm. Aiden nodded. That would be helpful. He did his trick again, where his wings and ear point disappeared. That's good, admitted Orla, but you need to act like a human too. You have to be wary, because misfortune could befall you at any step. Remember, humans can die. They do it all the time. I see, so I should look afraid? Orla shook her head. Not afraid, you're a big, strong man, but you should look like you're on the alert for trouble, she explained. Aiden grinned. You think I'm a big, strong man? Thank you. I think you're a normal-sized, strong woman. Orla laughed. I'm just saying you don't have to look scared to pass as a human. I'm going to try and get some sleep again. She looked over the edge of the boulder, trying to determine a good route back down. Aiden took flight and held out his hand. After a moment's hesitation, she took it and leapt off the rock, gliding down with him. For a moment, it felt just like flying. That's the end of chapter 12. Thank you so much for reading with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see you next time for chapter 13. Salam.